Okay, so, I hope you realize what this information can do for you and what it is doing. It's freeing us from the false notion that aliens have created these ancient civilizations. You know what I mean? And then it's freeing us at the exact same moment for anybody else that would be out there that doesn't believe in God, that wants to think aliens created us. It frees us from that notion also. It tells us exactly what we've been told and what we know by the Spirit of truth, by the gospel, by the words of Jesus Christ, by the prophets of old, by the Bible itself, that this world has experienced a spiritual rebellion and that things have been turned upside down and that much has been hidden. There's a lot of confusion. And in the ancient time, there was a time when the sons of God were upon the earth. And there was mighty men, men of old, men of renown. So if you can't put it in proper perspective of where these civilizations come from that are highly spiritual, that believe in an afterlife, that have a major concept of the spiritual world, I mean, come on. Come on. Aliens? No. It's a part of this spiritual hierarchy that we see in chapter 38 of the book of Job, verse 7. When the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding. Who knows about this stuff? Well, they successfully have hidden it from you. So as we move through chapter 38, we find out that at verse 8 begins to talk about after the time of the rebellion. So as we know at verse 7, we're going to have civilizations from this ancient time that are pre-rebellion, that will be related to a time when the sons of God didn't rebel. But then we have legends and stories and myths of places like Atlantis or Mao that talk about places that were covered up by the sea and that were overtaken and sunk in the waters, and that they had a high spirit culture, but something happened to them and they fell to ego and vanity and pride, materialism, science. Wow, that sounds a whole lot like what we are beginning to understand with the sons of God, doesn't it? And it sounds a whole lot like what we're seeing in chapter 38. To me. So verse 8 begins to describe this sea-type related watery catastrophic event. Or who shut up the sea with the doors when it brake forth as if it had issued out of the womb. So now we begin to see that everything begins to take place concerning these springs or this abyss. Hast thou entered into the springs of the sea? Or hast thou walked in the search of the depth? Knowest thou it because thou wast then born, because the number of thy days is great? Hast thou entered into the treasures of the snow, or hast thou seen the treasures of the hail, which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war? Wow, so somebody's been reserved in the sea and the abyss, something related to the ice and the snow and the hail. For this time of trouble? Well, this time of trouble is supposed to be the end times. Check it out. That's what it means. So as I told you, these fallen sons of God. And then if we want to know who the fallen sons of God are, well, it says the Pleiadians and those from Orion, as we see here. Verse 29, 30 above it tells you exactly what I'm telling you also. Out of whose womb came the ice and the hoary frost of heaven? Who hath gendered it? The waters are hid as with a stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. So these beings are in this relation of this abysmal place that had been covered up by this ice, this snow, this water, this ancient civilization that nobody can see because it's been covered by ice. And somewhere down under all that is this place called the abyss where they're hiding out. Well, that's exactly what Ezekiel says in chapter 26, verse 19. For thus saith the Lord God, when I shall make thee a desolate city like the cities that are not inhabited, when I shall bring up the deep upon thee, and the great waters shall cover thee, when I shall bring thee down with them that descend into the pit, with the people of old time, and shall set thee in the low parts of the earth, and the places desolate of old, and with them that go down to the pit, that thou not be inhabited, and I shall set glory in the land of the living. Know what you see.